11 months ago, I couldn't cross a courtyard without stopping twice. Today, I run 5 kilometers on stone before breakfast. And the exercise that changed that wasn't running, wasn't stretching, and wasn't anything fancy. It was 6 movements you almost certainly already know how to do. You've just been doing them wrong for the wrong amount of time, in the wrong order. If your leg day still looks like a quick set of squats and calling it done, you're not building legs that last. That's not opinion. That's what tendon research and 1,000 years of Shaolin practice happen to agree on. Quick question before we go further. How long could you hold a basic squat, thighs parallel, without standing up? 15 seconds? 30? Most people can't hit 60, and that number tells a physical therapist more about your knees than any treadmill test. I'm not going to explain the injury yet. I'll come back to that because the way I recovered only makes sense once you see the order these 6 movements go in. What I will tell you now, every one of these 6 is something you've done before, in gym class or a YouTube workout. None of them are exotic. What's different is how long you hold them, how slow you move through them, and one small correction per movement that almost nobody gets right. We start with the one everyone's tried and almost nobody's actually mastered. The horse stance, a simple wide squat hold, is not a warm-up. It's the test. Feet wider than shoulder width, spine straight, thighs as close to parallel with the floor as your knees allow, and you just stay there. Traditional Shaolin training logs measure this in minutes, not seconds. Serious students work toward 5 uninterrupted minutes, and longtime practitioners can pass 15. That's not about your quads burning. Around the 90-second mark, the muscles start handing the job over to the connective tissue around your knees and hips, and that's the actual point. You're not training strength. You're training how well your joints carry load, the kind of capacity that keeps a knee stable at 60, not just at 25 in a gym mirror. Here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. They let their knees drift forward past the toes to make the hold more comfortable. It feels like the same exercise. It isn't. The moment your knee travels forward, the load shifts from your hip and glute, where it belongs, onto the front of your knee joint, where it doesn't. 10 years of that is exactly how healthy people end up with cartilage damage in their 40s and no idea why. Once your legs can hold still, the next question is whether they can hold still while moving, which sounds easy until you actually try it slowly. The forward lunge, held instead of pulsed, is where stability gets tested under motion. Step forward into a deep lunge, back leg straight, front knee stacked directly over the ankle, and hold each position for a controlled 3 count before switching. 10 slow, held lunges per leg, done properly, tax the legs more than 30 rushed bodyweight lunges. Because speed is exactly what most gym goers use to cheat the movement. Slow it down and there's nowhere to hide. The common mistake here is almost universal. People let the back heel lift and twist outward mid-lunge, which quietly disengages the entire back of the leg, the muscles that actually protect the knee. Keep that heel grounded, and the exercise stops being a stretch and starts being armor. I'll tell you which of these 6 mattered most for my own recovery in a few minutes, but first, one you've probably done against a wall as a kid without knowing it was training anything. The wall sit looks like punishment, not technique. Back flat against a wall, knees at 90 degrees, thighs parallel to the floor, arms relaxed at your sides. It looks like posing for pain. It's actually one of the most effective isometric exercises for knee resilience there is, because your entire body weight is held through the quads and knee joint with 0 momentum to hide behind. Hold it for 60 seconds, and you'll understand within the first 20 why physical therapists still hand this out for knee rehab more than almost anything else in a gym. The mistake people make is letting the knees cave inward or push out past the toes as fatigue sets in, chasing the clock instead of holding the line. Done with strict form, over 8 to 10 weeks, this is genuinely one of the fastest ways to reduce knee pain in people who've spent years avoiding leg day. Done sloppy, it just teaches your knees to fail under load, which is the opposite of the point. Somewhere around this stage in my own recovery, a doctor told me I'd likely need months more before running was realistic. That timeline changed, and the next exercise is a big part of why. Standing on one leg, the balance test everyone's tried and nobody trains on purpose. Stand on one leg, other knee lifted to hip height, arms out for a slow count of 30, then switch sides. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But research on fall prevention has repeatedly shown single leg balance time is one of the strongest predictors of joint health and injury risk in adults over 40. a better predictor in several studies than raw leg strength. Most gym routines have zero equivalent to this. None. The common failure is compensating with the arms and torso instead of the standing leg, flailing the arms for balance instead of making the ankle and hip do the actual work. It turns a leg exercise into an arm exercise and the leg learns nothing. Now we get to endurance and power, because everything so far has been about control, and control without power is just very stable weakness. Calf raises, done slow into full range, are the most underrated exercise on this list. Rise onto your toes, pause a full second at the top, lower with control, sets of 20 per leg. Traditional Shaolin conditioning built entire routines around ankle and calf endurance, because a weak lower leg is where running injuries actually start. Not in the knee, in the ankle and calf that fail to absorb impact first. A properly conditioned practitioner can complete 50 clean, controlled reps per leg without form breaking down. Most untrained people fail well before 25, and that gap is almost entirely calf endurance nobody bothers training. The mistake, nearly every time, is bouncing, using momentum to bang out fast reps instead of a full, controlled range of motion. It looks similar on camera. It trains almost nothing. Last one. This is the exercise that, more than any other, is the reason I run today. High knees, marched slowly at first and then driven fast, is the bridge from rehab back to actual running. Standing in place, driving each knee up toward your chest, arms pumping, building from a slow march to a genuine sprint-in-place rhythm. It's simple, it's explosive, and it's exactly the kind of movement most rehab programs avoid too long out of caution, which, ironically, often slows recovery rather than protecting it. 30 seconds at a controlled pace, 3 sets, was where my own comeback actually accelerated. Not the walking, not the stretching, the knee drive. The mistake almost everyone makes is leaning back and slapping the feet down flat instead of landing on the balls of the feet with the torso upright. That single habit is the difference between a conditioning drill and a future shin problem. So, the story. 11 months ago, a fall left me with a leg that genuinely wasn't sure it wanted to be a leg anymore. The doctors were cautious, and rightly so. What actually rebuilt it wasn't one dramatic exercise. It was this exact order: stillness first, then controlled motion, then balance, then endurance, then speed. Skip a step, and the next one just doesn't hold. If you're starting from anywhere near where I was, don't try all 6 today. Start with 60 seconds of the squat hold and 30 seconds of the wall sit once a day for 2 weeks. Add the held lunges in week 3. The balance and calf work come once the first 3 feel boring. Boring is the sign they've stopped being a challenge. Save the high knees for last, and only once a doctor or physical therapist has actually looked at your legs, not just your motivation. None of these 6 exercises look impressive. You've probably done every one of them badly at some point in your life. That's rather the point. The ones that actually rebuild a body rarely look like much.